All right, we'll start off speaking very quietly because
No, we won't.
you just gave them another sharp pain to the temple.
It's what
You
you
know
get.
they're getting over a hangover. What are you doing, Dave?
Toughening them up, these millennial
Tough
little
love.
pissants.
Tough love here on the weekend edition of Sports Frenzy 2.0.
The sooner you get over it, the better you'll be.
See, that's your drill sergeant, Uncle Dave, and this is your caring and loving Uncle Kev, trying to nurture your way through your Saturday morning hangover. Because I've been there and I've done that, and I know you need somebody to really care.
Oh, suck it up, Buttercup.
You know the drill. Get the aspirin, get the bacon, get the eggs, and eventually, a couple hours from now, when we get towards the end,
you'll be doing much better.
Maybe get a hair of the dog, pop a beer, and then get ready to do it all over again Saturday night. But right now, as we tape here on October the 11th, this is hitting Saturday morning, October the 14th, 2023.
Which? Saturday the 14th. Great movie. Check it out. Richard Benjamin.
Yeah. Richard Benjamin. Yep. All right. So as always, we're going to start off with music, but a very different. We do this every once in a while when our musical tastes diverge. And I don't want to torture your Uncle Dave with some of my more eclectic stuff. And then he wants to go off on his own path and listen to the Waffles and Die,
which you will not get this week. That is not the glorious songs.
I know. It's not Disturbed. It's not Five Finger Death Punch. It's not
Slipknot.
It's not
Avatar.
Earring up your anus.
There you go.
So, Uncle Dave, why don't you start off with the Glorious Sons?
Yes, their new album, Glory. 10 songs. There's some good stuff on here, and there's a couple of why, which you have with everybody anymore. But they start off with the title track, Glory, which is kind of a choral mellow opening. I would not say this is one that should have led off the album. This is one of the weak songs on there.
Which always puzzles me. We talked about Matchbox 20 about 5-6 months ago when they started off with, what was it, Friends? And that was the weakest, if not one of the weakest songs on the album.
Yeah. Then they come in with probably my favorite song on the album, Mercy, Mercy. It's almost kind of like part 2 of their SOS, the sawed-off shotgun. It kind of has that beat. The chorus is awesome. I ran my 4 horses to their death. I watched them take their last breath. Mercy, mercy, I'm sick of my war. Won't do me like you done before.
Who did we see them open for, by the way?
That would have been the Struts.
Were the Struts the headliners that night?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they were.
Because I know we've seen them before.
Yeah.
Because when you said sawed-off shotgun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but no, I really, really like Mercy, Mercy. Nice little bit. Then you got Cellular, which is all right. Dream, one of the tighter songs on there. This is kind of a cross. It's got that Chris Isaak tempo.
Ooh, now you got me.
But
you got me.
With kind of a Tom Petty lyrics.
Ooh, I like that.
So this is a cool little song. And then probably the worst song, House Lights, just does not belong with the rest of the stuff. Then Speed of Light is okay. Then you get Lightning Bolt, which this could be a Roger Clyne song. It's kind of got that vibe, that kind of lyrics and imagery, the kind of off the beaten path stuff, which is really kind of cool. You Stay Young, which is all right. And I still don't know how I feel about Time Will Rain Down on Me. It's a lower paced, mellow. I'm leaning towards not liking it so much. And then You've got Cosmic Beam, which really reminds me of something from the Counting Crows.
Oh, gee, now you are hitting all my buttons with those 3 songs. You got Chris Isaak, Counting Crows, Roger Clyne. Come on, Tom Petty.
Yeah,
Now you
you've
got me
some
wanting to
really
listen to
good
those songs.
stuff in here. So when they're bad, they're not great. And there's like 3 that are 3 out of the 7. I would love to give it it's a weak 3 strong 2.5.
That's still not bad.
So it's worth listening to even in its whole. But there are some solid gems on this one from the Glorious Sons. I definitely will give it a good recommendation to listen to.
Okay, I wasn't sure because it sounded like you didn't like at least half the album.
There's 3 that I really didn't like. And I had 1, 2, 4 that I did like a lot. And the others are okay.
Okay. Well, it's hard for me to review Wilco because
they're their own.
They're still, to me, living off the legacy of their 2001 album, Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, which is the album that brought me into enjoying them. But it was, and it still seems like over 20 years later, that they're still, I don't want to say living off that album, but they have not been able to achieve the same heights. Now, it's an eclectic album, but it was so timely, ridiculous. In, if you look at the album cover, it's 2 towers. It was released, I believe, the week after 9/11.
Yeah.
There are songs on there called Ashes of American Flags. It's just a creepy, spooky moment in time that seemed to fit perfectly. Plus, they were at their best with they're very atmospheric. They're very eclectic. They're almost, except for that album, background noise stuff that you can listen to in the background while you're doing chores or, almost like smooth jazz. Except very experimental alt country.
And there you go.
Now, so of course, Dave and I reviewed the first single off this album, Evicted. And I believe you said it kind of reminded you of the Traveling Wilburys. And
yeah, it has that kind of feel.
That's not a bad, way to look at it. But see, this is why I didn't want you to listen to this album, because you already hate me for dragging you to go see the Dave Matthews Band. So I didn't want another black mark on my name in your ledger.
And there you go.
So a good thing, because I don't think you would enjoy the album at all. I thought it was okay for them. It kind of jumps between all their different incarnations, the atmospheric stuff, a little bit of the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot experimental soundscapes. Yeah. And then there's a couple songs like Evicted where they actually pull it all together and sound like they're trying to actually make songs that could be played on the radio. So outside of Evicted, I would say the final 2 songs meet that final category where they're actually accessible and listenable for most people. So that would be Soldier Boy, which has got the alt country vibe. Don't laugh at that. What are you laughing at that
because
for?
The boys are coming out here soon with Soldier Boy.
Actually, Soldier Child. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Soldier Child. My mistake. See, that's probably why I said Soldier Boy.
Because we know
we're going to be doing
watching Gen V.
Yeah.
And we know the boys are coming soon.
It's Soldier Child.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And then the final song might be, along with Evicted, the best song on the album in terms, it's got a nice galloping beat. It's positive. It's upbeat. Meant to Be is a very, very cool closing song, but you go through a lot of their really experimental sounds. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. You were talking about lyrics. with the Glorious Sons. There was a line in the song Pittsburgh that I really liked. The song itself is, but it opens with the line, "I love the rain because it turns shit into a rose."
Alrighty then.
I just like that.
There
like
you
that
go.
line. But I mean, there's a bowl and a pudding. What the hell does that mean? A bowl and a pudding. It actually has a really nice minute and a half acoustic intro, which I really liked, and then it just kind of wanders off on its own, kind of like a three-legged dog. Just don't know where it's going, and no purpose. But yeah, if you're a Wilco fan and listen to Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, the first song, Infinite Surprise, will probably strike you as, oh, they're going to get back into that vibe again, because it's kind of got it straddles the line between being off the wall ridiculous and being a really
musically
cool
coherent
song. Yeah. And that's what made Yankee Hotel Foxtrot so good, is they straddled that line where they sounded so different from other bands, but yet still coherent tunes, chorus, lyrics, verses, song structures that actually made sense. Whereas here they kind of go back and forth, jumping between the two, just fucking around, basically, and actually putting together solid verse, chorus, verse songs.
All right.
I can't give it any more than a 2. I can give it a 2 at the best. I can't recommend it. If you're not a diehard Wilco fan, you're not going to like it.
All right, there you go.
So I know we've got dissension here among the 3 songs that we're reviewing. So should we start off with the one that we know we're not going to disagree on?
Crossing
or maybe,
over.
Maybe we will disagree, and I don't know. We haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the Lost track from the newly released, remastered Van Halen The Collection 2. Now, of course, the first collection was the classic era 6 albums from David Lee Roth. Now we get the Sammy Hagar era remastered. But there's a bonus disc on this particular collection, as opposed to the David Lee Roth era, where we pull in the 2 songs from the Twister soundtrack, we pull in the 3 songs from the Best of Both Worlds Greatest Hits compilation, and the only B-side that we have that Van Halen never put on an album, ever released, stuck it on the B-side of one of the songs off of Balance, which is Crossing Over. So I figured this would kind of be an interesting song to review, because a lot of you out there, I'm not even all that familiar with it. I've heard it before, but it's not a song that I've really listened to a ton, and I figured Dave probably hasn't either. So,
nope. So here we go with this. Love the intro. Classic Eddie playing away. It's a little mellow, but he nails it, as he always does. Interesting vocally with Sammy on there. I've listened to it a few times. I like it, but I don't. It's one of those that kind of rides that line where you want to listen to it, but it's hard to listen to at the same time.
No, I don't think that's a bad way to look at it.
It's definitely Sammy. It's definitely Sammy. But
we've always kind of done this over the years and made fun where we kind of snap our fingers and we're kind of off the beat.
It's just
a little bit. It seems like it just
there's something there, but it's just not.
It's the beat is off. It's clunky.
Yeah,
it doesn't pull together right. It seems like the pieces, they're trying to fit pieces together that won't
You're
fit.
trying to fit the lyrics and the vocals with the music, and the mesh is hard.
Yeah. So it's obvious to me why it was not ever on an album. But that's the funny thing, is I will actually say that as much as I would say it's probably a bottom 10 all-time Van Halen song, it's probably still better than Can't Stop Loving You or something crappy like that.
Absolutely.
You know, get rid of half the Sammy Hagar ballads, and this is
still
better.
better than most
but
of them.
Now, as a Van Halen fan, I will still say I can't recommend it. I will go 2 Eddies.
Yeah, that's pretty
2 Frenzies,
close.
sorry.
2 Frenzies is about where...
Because we're talking about Eddie Van Halen, so...
See,
again,
musically, we used to do...
The Eddies.
The Eddies.
Yeah. See, I know it's buried in my head somewhere since we're talking about Van Halen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just not... It just seems like it's that... It's just missing. Ka-thunk, ka-thunk. It's just something is not right. The wheels on the gears are not meshing.
Yeah.
On the song. But again, I'll take it any day over Can't Stop Loving You.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so now we move on to the 2 songs, the 2 massive, big, headlining songs from the 2 major, huge, all-time artists that Dave and I do not agree on. But again, I don't know how big of a
far
difference
off we're going to be.
Yeah. So first off, we've got the song that U2 released right around the time they started their Las Vegas residency at the Sphere. Atomic City.
No, going in, I am not a U2 fan. Have never been a U2 fan. There's some songs I enjoy and can appreciate, but for the most part, I can do without them. And this one...
And a lot of it's overplayed, too.
Yeah, way overplayed. This one wasn't horrible. It had a decent little beat to it. It was better than a lot of what they've done. But again, for me, that's not saying a whole hell of a lot. This 2 to 2.5 for me.
See, that's a cop-out. Pick a rating.
2.
See, that's where I would go. So there's not a lot of dissension, but I guess
strongish 2.
For me, I would say a weakish 2, because I guess I'm not a huge U2 guy, but I'm more of a fan than you are.
Yeah, there's very little I like. This one I just kind of liked it musically.
See, I thought it was lazy. I thought a lot of it was lazy. It didn't seem
it wasn't
like
pretentious is what.
But see, sometimes when they're pretentious, they're at their best.
Not always.
And did you notice at one point, I'm sure U2 sycophants out there will rip me to shreds for saying that, you don't understand what he meant. But at one point in the lyrics, he actually says blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell that's a cop-out. That's lazy songwriting if I've ever heard it. You don't understand what he meant by blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he couldn't figure out what the fuck he wanted to say.
Yeah. It's not like Freddie Mercury singing Radio Gaga. He's trying to talk about baby speak as it related to the current state of radio. This just sounded like Bono had nothing to put in that particular line.
This is Bono trying to be the pretentious prick that he can be.
Yeah. I didn't think this was them at their best. But again, ever since, ironically, the album that they're performing in its entirety, Achtung Baby, which I think was their greatest album, ever since then, they have tried to experiment, failed miserably at it.
Yeah.
Then they tried to come back to their original sound. We're okay at that.
Yeah, but they lost it at that point.
But yeah, I mean, you're never going to replicate how good they were in the 80s and the early 90s with some of the Joshua Tree War. Those albums, Rattle and Hum, Unforgettable Fire, Those are classic U2 albums. And unfortunately, like some other bands who've been able to sustain their greatness, I don't think U2 has ever really been able to sustain their greatness over the last 2 decades plus. And this is just another example of it to me. Sorry.
There you go. Perfect.
Now, somebody that I think hit and miss, but has been able to every once in a while come up with a truly great album is Bruce Springsteen. Not all the time.
Not all the time.
But every 6-7 years, he'll come up with a classic album. And of course, we're not going all the way back to Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge. We're not going on, but I'm talking about within the last, again, recent history, 20, 25, 30 years. Springsteen will, Letter to You, his last great album, came out 4 or 5 years ago, if that. But then he's put out crap since then. Western Stars. So now we get a kind of a one-off.
A written for a movie.
Right.
Song.
A small movie. Yeah. And I mean small because Peter Dinklage is in it.
I was going to say.
But,
a very minor.
But yeah, this has kind of flown under the radar in that not a lot of people are talking about the fact that he's got a brand new song on the soundtrack to this album for this movie with the soundtrack with Peter Dinklage. I kind of like the song. There is a big flaw in it, though, for me.
Go ahead.
But again, you're not a big Springsteen fan, like you too.
I thought this one was kind of lame.
See, I liked it, but I think it would have been better if he had pared it down, stripped it down even more, and gotten his goddamn wife off the mic.
Oh,
his wife. It reminded me last week.
It's like Yoko freaking Ono. Caterwauling in the background. It reminded me
last week of Rolling Stones and Lady Gaga. We found heaven.
Yeah.
And I just she ruined the song for me.
Exactly.
I think this could have been a really
Yoko
good
Ono caterwauling a la Lady Gaga last
And I
week.
guarantee you can find audio out there, just like they've done, and it's mean and it's cruel with Linda McCartney, where people will separate out her vocals when Wings was touring in the 70s and point out how god-awful she was as a singer. And I guarantee you can do the same thing with Patti Scialfa, Bruce Springsteen's wife, who, of course, was a background singer with the E Street Band before they hooked up and got married. She's awful. She ruins this song. It could have been a nice, understated little minor, little nugget in the Bruce Springsteen catalog. But then she's, like you said, starts doing the Yoko Ono shit.
Yeah.
And ruins the song. Now, I can still see through to the point where it's still, to me, a 2.5 frenzy song.
It's a 2 for me.
That's saying something for you.
It is.
Yeah.
So, there was more that could have been done with it. As it is, 2 is all I can give it.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but again, a nice little understated, to me at least, Bruce Springsteen melody, nice little song. Probably something he wrote on a cocktail napkin while he was in the park after drinking tequila on his motorcycle. Oh yeah, I still don't understand how he didn't get in trouble for that, by the way.
Because he was born to run.
Yeah. But we hope you get better, Bruce. Get over that peptic ulcer soon. All right, little bit of music news, and then we'll discuss what we're going to review next week.
Should we stay on Springsteen with his reported Mount Rushmore of bands, his 4 favorite?
Oh, I did not hear this week? No.
Was doing a podcast and bringing out who his favorite bands were. And he settled on the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Animals.
Oh, that's a little different.
And the Dave Clark 5.
Okay. Two ridiculously obvious picks and 2 interesting picks beyond that.
Yeah. So there you go.
We should do that. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
I will have to give this some consideration.
Okay, I like this. This is interesting. You know who number one's going to be.
Van Halen.
Of course.
For both of us. Duh.
But beyond that, then I have to start
Then
thinking about...
Do we want to go by era?
Right, that's what I'm thinking, is that I don't know how I would... I might leave off a band I like a little bit more in favor of a more eclectic mix. So maybe we'll do that for next week, kids. Maybe your Uncle Dave and I will give you our Mount Rushmore, the 4 greatest bands of all time, or performers if you just want to go solo. Now, great news on the new music front. Great news, of course. The Power Trip Festival last weekend, where we saw the return of AC/DC. Hopefully we get a world tour out of this. Supposedly, by all accounts, phenomenal show.
Excellent.
Of course, if we were rich, would have jetted out to California to see the Power Trip show with 3 nights. First night, of course, Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have gone to California for that shit.
Second night was AC/DC, Judas Priest. Third night was Tool and Metallica.
I could do it without Tool.
But what I read, the reviews, the first night was the worst because Guns N' Roses pushed a 3-hour set on everybody.
Oh, God, help us.
After I think Iron Maiden gave them 3 hours before that.
Oh, for the love of all that's holy.
Whereas the second night, the Priest and AC/DC kept it a little more realistic. I think Judas Priest paid 90 minutes. AC/DC gave him close to 2 hours. So, you know.
There you go.
But that being said, right before the performance on Saturday at the Power Trip Festival, Judas Priest announces their next album.
Woohoo!
Invincible Shield will be out March the 8th of 2024. The Priest are not dead yet. Now they're saying this is going to be a little bit more adventurous of an album than what they had the last time out with Firepower, which is, of course, more straight ahead, 3.5 minute, 4 minute, punch you in the face, screaming for vengeance type. Now we're going to get more into the longer songs, you know. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have to mention, of course, I do this 3 or 4 times a year, 5 maybe, I guess 5. Even though it's not technically October the 10th. That was yesterday. Great song by Foreigner, by the way. 10/10/2023. David Lee Roth's birthday. Always have to acknowledge one of the Van Halen brethren and their birthdays. So happy birthday to
Diamond
DLR.
Dave.
Yep. Put out that fucking album you did with John 5, will you? Jesus Christ.
Pull your head out of your ass already.
All right. So next week we're looking at, Dave has got a recommendation for a band called Red Light King.
Yes, Eye of a Hurricane. It popped up as a recommended song after reviewing our stuff for this week. We'll give it a shot and see.
Yep. We'll do another song from Blackberry Smoke's new album coming out in 2024. This one is called Little Bit Crazy. And then for our featured album review, how about some country?
What, you say? It's all good. It's Hootie and the Blowfish's Darius Rucker.
Yep.
We like Darius.
Love Darius, Carolyn's Boy, brand new album. We will review that for you next week as our featured album review. Then after that, the wheels come off. It's all planned out for the rest of the year. Rolling Stones, Dokken, Rivals, Sons. We have got new albums that
it's all
not
good,
country,
baby.
Not going off the beaten path each and every week. We will have great rock and roll for you each and every week on the album review for the rest of the year.
Yep. But coming up, segment 2, movies, book reviews. We got you covered after this break.
Hello, this is Will Smith. You might know me as the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You might also know me from Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, and Bad Boys for Life. And now you must also know me as an Academy Award-winning actor for King Richard. Also by now, you know there are two things I do not like people talking about in my presence. Namely, my open marriage and my wife's lack of hair. Well, now there is a third thing you do not talk about in front of Will Smith. You do not talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. My boys Kev and Dave will hit slap the sports world in Hollywood each and every week on Sports Frenzy 2.0 and the Weekend Edition on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher. Just remember, keep Sports Frenzy's name out your damn mouth.
Welcome back. Segment 2 of Sports Frenzy 2.0 here, recording October 11th, dropping Saturday the 14th. He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And he is a conquistador, Dave Height.
And it's movie time on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known as iHeartRadio.
Still miss Stitcher.
I know. The Facebook page, you can still check it out, especially for the sports edition. I know with the weekend edition, not really much going on the Facebook page.
Hey, drop us a line. Give us some recommendations for a change, you slackers.
Yeah, tell us what movies we should check out. Tell us what songs, what albums.
And then we'll tell you if you're full of shit or if you're onto something.
Yep. So as your Uncle Dave mentioned at the end of the last segment, it's the movie segment. Now, last week, of course, I slacked off. Your Uncle Dave picked up the pace. He brought us his review of Expendables 4. This week, I'm taking over as he didn't get a chance to watch a movie. So, I have a review of Reptile from Netflix. Newly released murder mystery starring Benicio del Toro, Justin Timberlake, Alicia Silverstone, Eric Bogosian's in it. I will say this.
Now, number one, Del Toro, but you started losing me with Silverstone.
She's not bad. She's actually not bad at all. She plays his wife. I feel like I need a couple minutes here because this is a long movie, number one. It's probably too long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, which for one of your basic standard murder mystery type detective movies is probably 20 to 25 minutes, a little too long. But again, I am a sucker for this type of movie. I love this genre. Going back here a couple years to The Little Things with Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, Rami Malek, those type of movies where the questionable cop or the tandem, are the cops involved? Are the cops corrupt? Are the cops the killer?
The mix of modern and noir.
Yeah, and this one does not let you down. An interesting plot involving real estate. Kind of twists and turns, and they give you a lot of red herrings. I don't know if I'm a big fan of that, where they give you a lot of things where they go, ooh, look at this. Is this really mean that this person could be involved? And it turns out to be nothing. I'm not a huge fan of that. Don't give me something that it could tie into the murder.
But doesn't.
Yeah. No. But I will say this. When Benicio del Toro actually talks and enunciates and doesn't mumble, which he is wont to do in a lot of his roles, even going back to
country.
The Usual Suspects.
Yep.
And here he is very, very good. Very good. Mesmerizing, I would say, in terms of You're watching his every move. He is the classic noir detective, flawed but still able to. He's got of course, past. He's got a shady past.
Well, duh.
So of course, his wife Alicia Silverstone has tried to guide him through the rough times they had in Philadelphia, where he has come from, joining another police force. And now he's trying to solve a brutal murder in an open house kind of situation. Of course, the boyfriend, who is a partner with the victim in this realty firm, along with his mother, comes into play. But then you've got the question of,
Mama said real estate's a devil.
Then you've got, of course, the question, are the cops in on it? Why are the cops interested and not interested at the same time? And it's fascinating movie. It is. I'm not going to say it's phenomenal. I'm not going to say it's greatest of the year. But again, I'm a sucker for these type of movies. I will give Reptile a week 3. Again, it's over long. Probably should have cut 20 to 25 minutes bare minimum out of it to tighten it up, pare it down. But some of the red herrings work, some don't. It again, not flawless, not perfect,
but enjoyable.
Yeah. Again, give me a good actor as a detective in a solid mystery. I'm in. I'm a sucker for it. You're going to get 3 frenzies out of me anytime you do it. So that's where you go here. I'll give it a week 3 again because it's over long.
All right. There you go. All right. This week's book review, Craig Johnson's latest Walt Longmire mystery, The Longmire Defense. I'm not going to tell you what that's in reference to. You're going to have to read it to find out for yourself. It's a quirky little thing that those who have read the books will understand. So Walt gets a call early spring in Wyoming, has to rescue a stranded motorist. She's wound up getting stuck in the snow up in the mountains, wandered away, found a tower to get cell service, and then she wandered away from it. So he's out there trying to track her down with Dog. That's what he named his dog, Dog. As he sends Vic around to the other side to meet up, stumbles upon her, saves the lady in distress, but Dog starts sniffing at something tucked up underneath a rock. Walt thinks it's a critter of some sort, but he reaches in and finds an old rifle. And lo and behold, it turns out to be related to a over 50-year-old murder that took place at his grandfather's hunting camp. Walt's dad told him the story about what happened because his dad at the time was only a teenager and was there with the guy. And wow, shit hits the fan within the state of Wyoming at that point. People trying to curtail the investigation. Why? People getting shot for investigating, looking into different parts. Walt makes the inevitable off-the-cuff marriage proposal to Vic. She disappears off the reservation, taking sick leave. He hasn't been home in forever, staying at his grandfather's place a couple times, reconnects with his grandfather's housekeeper's daughter, who he used to play around with on the homestead. There's just a shit ton going on in this one. That there's no other way to say it. It's a fast damn read like all of them are. Johnson does not disappoint. Walt once again shows what a good detective he is, even if he can be a little slow at times. But he meanders his way through. So you're going to have to read the Longmire defense to find out how it all wraps up. Another solid 3 Frenzy rating from this series. There's a couple things I'm like, could have been done a little different, which keeps it from the 3.5. But still, another solid outing in the series.
There you go. And of course, Dave is currently in the middle of another book.
Not in the middle. 2 pages into Nelson DeMille's new Bloodlines.
I figured by now you'd be halfway through, just during the taping of the show.
It's not even here in the studio.
Of course, he's trying to give me a head start on the new John Sanford Prey novel featuring Lucas Davenport and Virgil Flowers. That would be Judgment Prey. So I'm going to try to slog through as much as I can of that. I say slog because, number one, Sanford's his writing style is a little more dense, so it takes me longer to get through it. Unlike a Robert B. Parker.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a little bit longer, 400 pages for me at least. I usually like mine 300, 350.
Yeah. See, I've got another about 400 pager with Nelson DeMille, so I'm going to try and get that knocked out before I start Prey to give you a head start.
Yep. And then after that, we'll probably already be ready at that time for Lee Child's latest Reacher novel. So, and then we've got Lupica's first foray into the Spencer universe coming up before the end of the year. So,
yep. And we've got Extinct coming up from Lincoln Child.
Yes. Yep. Definitely always put those books. I like when they write separate.
Yeah. They're good together, but sometimes their solo stuff can be better.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely agree. And speaking of upcoming books, wow, this is, we kind of alluded to this a while back that this was in the works, but now it's been confirmed. Of course, Mr. Prolific writer that he was, Michael Crichton, left a lot of work, in the vault.
Yeah,
I guess we'll say. And when I read Stephen King's book on writing, he really gave me insight into how writers think about dying and how they think about what they want to do with their beloved characters or their final books. And Michael Crichton, I think death snuck up on him a little bit.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of partial manuscripts, things that weren't finished. We've seen some of these books come out. Pirate Latitudes comes to mind. But now, this one scares me. I'm kind of intrigued. And
why is Lupica writing this one too?
No, but who next to Lupica is the biggest hack in the world when it comes to writing?
Patterson?
Michael Crichton and James Patterson. James Patterson selected by the estate of Michael Crichton to finish up.
No! You know why? Because his name is going to guarantee a buku bucks for the estate.
I think Michael Crichton's name on it would have done okay.
It would have been fine, but they're doubling down.
So now you're going to get a collaboration, as it is, between Michael Crichton and James Patterson.
And whoever he chooses to write with him. Unless he has the balls to do it solo.
You and I have talked. He's a book whore. He's a novelist. He's a book whore. He's a writing whore. Whatever you want to call him. He's a whore.
Just slap his name on for something.
So now he gets this huge opportunity to finish up Michael Crichton's partial novel about an eruption, I believe, of Mauna Loa in the Hawaiian Islands. Eruption will be out. No, not Eddie Van Halen. June the 3rd of 2024. Now, supposedly this could be the first book in a series. Shocking with James Patterson involved.
Yeah, no kidding.
Again, whore, money grubbing book whore. There's supposedly something about a terrorist organization who've got chemical weapons buried underneath the volcano.
Oh, for the love of
so
all that's holy.
It's not just the volcano exploding that's going to pose a threat, because the chemical weapons are going to pose a threat to the entire world.
But wouldn't the lava incinerate everything anyway?
Oh, Dave, James Patterson's involved. You're thinking way too much. Way too much.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being logical.
Now, jumping back to movies for just a second, I did want to bring this up.
I'm glad you did, because I've got a trailer for the kids to watch.
We talked about this. We've talked about the book. Yes, I did not finish the book. I will eventually finish the book. It is a long fucking book. Okay? Michael Mann has confirmed that his next movie will indeed be Heat 2.
Wow.
Yes, and there are still rumors that he will not confirm or deny that Local Boy, Adam Driver, will play the young Macaulay, the character that Robert De Niro played in the original movie.
Intriguing.
What I read of the book I liked, but it is just so long and so, again, dense.
So we're going to wind up with a 4-hour movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily. Look how long Heat was.
I know.
Heat was over 3 hours.
Yeah. So there we go. All right. Did Expendables 4 review for you last week. Jason Statham is going to have a new action movie coming out, The Beekeeper. Check out the trailer. It's about what you expect, but it's Statham in an action movie. Of course I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, and he needs... Good thing that Meg 2 did very well, which, by the way, we're going to review next week.
Yep, that's the plan.
Dave and I are planning on reviewing Meg 2 The Trench, currently on Max. But he has had a lot of subpar box office movies lately. He needs another hit. He really does, because you think about Operation Fortune, didn't even make $10 million. And that was another Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah. What, the last really solid one, The Wrath of Man?
Yeah, and because of that was right around the pandemic.
Yeah,
it did well based on that.
Yeah, but it was a phenomenal movie.
Very good movie. Yep, very, very good movie. But he needs a solo action hit.
Yes.
Otherwise, he's going to become Liam Neeson, is what's going to happen. And he's going to be putting out 3 movies a year, and they're all going to make $7 million and then go straight to video in 2 weeks.
Where they're going to do even better.
I don't want him to go there.
He deserves better.
Yes. But again, Expendables 4 didn't do him any favors.
No, and as I said, it was the writers who effed that one up.
So again, as I said, next week, tentatively looking at both of us reviewing Meg 2 The Trench, I am still intrigued beyond belief at Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. That could be a Halloween review.
That could be a Halloween review.
That could be a Halloween review. I'm telling you. Just to see what they do with the whole Christopher Robin, Winnie the Pooh Piglet thing. And then, of course, right after, because of the timing, I believe it'll mess us up. Right after Halloween, we will probably review Five Nights at Freddy's, which will be hitting Peacock and movie theaters simultaneously, I believe, on the 27th. So we'll probably end up having to review that after Halloween. But that gives us 2 segments down, 1 more to go. And you know what that means, TV and streaming.
Nice.
Our review of Season 4 of Tacoma FD.
Ended way too soon.
Didn't expect the 2-episode finale.
That was shocking when I went to watch. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Oh no.
Yeah, I got through the first one and saw it was starting another one. I'm like, what? What?
What?
What? What? What are you doing? Murmur, murmur, murmur,
Murmur, murmur, murmur, murmur.
If you don't get it, that's your fault, not ours. But we'll discuss it more, maybe enlighten you on some of these in-jokes when we get back for segment 3 of the Weekend Edition. Your Uncle Dave and I will be right back. Now that we've let you into Frenzy Club, here are 3 rules. 1, you don't talk about Sports Frenzy 2.0. You listen to it on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, and all other major podcast hosts. 2 guys to a show. Kev Dave, the maestro and the conquistador. 3, 1 Sports Frenzy episode at a time. Until Saturday, when you get the Weekend Edition. Now get in there and let loose on some PC wussbags, will ya? All right, kids. Third and final segment. Dave and I are laughing.
Sorry.
No, we might bring it back here in a couple minutes once we wrap up our review in the TV and streaming segment here, segment 3 of the Weekend Edition. Your Uncle Dave, your Uncle Kev, taping here on October the 11th is, of course, the final segment of your Saturday morning hangover cure on October the 14th. But we have got to wrap up season 4 of Tacoma FD. Now, the reason why we were laughing is because, and I'm sure we're going to piss off a lot of you people out there, but that's fine. We personally love Tacoma FD, but if you DVR it on True TV, you're going to get at the beginning the tail end of Impractical Jokers. And we don't understand the appeal of Impractical Jokers.
I've tried watching them. They're not funny.
And I told him it's like
listening to Bob and Tom.
Yes, the obnoxious morning radio shows where everybody
Canned
laughs
laughter.
really. That's so funny. Nothing. Hot Tub Time Machine isn't that funny.
No.
Nothing is that funny. That's why we go for the more subtle humor like Tacoma FD.
Because it's nice.
Nice. Final 2 episodes of season 4, episodes 12 and 13. Kind of a nice tie-in.
It was.
They do go well together. So
they do. You merge from Kangaroo Court
to Bad
Blood.
Yes, but they have a underlying interwoven plot line going. And then, of course, a shocking cliffhanger ending.
Bum, bum, bum.
Murmur. You have got...
Kangaroo Court
has to be one of the best episodes of all time. Has to be. It's just so well done. So well done. So funny. Basically, nothing to do with firefighting whatsoever.
No, none whatsoever.
Basically, they're holding annual Kangaroo Court.
Yeah, it's like in baseball where somebody does something stupid in the clubhouse and they get called out for it. Somebody does something to somebody in the firehouse and they present their case and evidence and a ruling is brought down.
Yes, the gallery. Murmur. Just funnier now. And of course, the first case revolves around the use of Lucy's $190 expensive shampoo.
And volumizer.
Yes, and Ike initially gets called out.
For obvious reasons when you're watching. And
you have to, of course, pay attention to people's hair throughout the whole episode. And sniff the hair. And then we get to the plot that will carry on into Bad Blood, the second big case in the Kangaroo Court, involving, will the chief admit to his friendship with the police chief, Polanski?
Yep, McConkey and Polanski.
going to craft fairs and country concerts
Terry
together.
and Jerry.
Then it comes down to a traffic camera video and a selfie taken at the concert. And it sets things up for bad blood, the second of these
that's
two
just a
back-to-back.
mean thing to say.
But it's great. And then, of course, our great Captain Eddie Panisi has to jump in at the end and threaten Polanski's, I will ruin you. I will ruin this friendship. I will ruin everything about this at the craft fair. Oh, let's go look at the dream catchers. It's just so funny. You guys have got to watch this. The murmur thing, it's got to be one of the funniest things. I just kept cracking up every time because it's kind of like any typical, going back to Perry Mason, Law and Order.
Yeah, where you just hear the gallery, the murmur, murmur.
When something shocking is given on the stand. But then we get into Bad Blood, where the police and the firefighters battle over a blood drive, and whoever loses has to get the other department's insignia tattooed on their back.
Oh, Lord.
And then that leads to the big cliffhanger at the end, where it looks like that there is a tie, but somebody gets disqualified. I will not say anymore.
Murmur.
Let the kids figure it out. Watch for themselves. But hopefully this means that True TV, I have not heard they've renewed season 5. I would hope they would give us
because
this better not
be another frickin' Terriers.
Right or left. I'm not putting up with that shit anymore.
No, we will not.
What else has True TV got other than the idiots, the practical jokers, the impractical jokers? What else have they got? They got to bring back Tacoma FD, right?
You have to bring Broken Lizard back. Everybody loves Broken Lizard.
For this season. This was the best season. This is
their best season.
I think this was the best season.
Definitely.
Now, I will say this. I didn't like the start of the season.
I didn't like Mickleberry to start off.
And
he kind of grows on you.
I get tired of the Pantaleone thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got rid of him quick. I will give it a 3.5 frenzies.
Absolutely.
Yep. Not quite 4. But there
are
at least, I will say
there are some 4 frenzy episodes.
Kangaroo Court is a 4-star. Definitely.
Definitely
there are a couple
a 4
other ones
frenzy,
too.
yes.
Murmur. I love it so much. I just love it so much. I'm sorry. It just makes me laugh. Oh my God. Yes. If you guys are not watching this by now, you're ridiculous.
What was it? The 56th Street Boys?
Yeah. I mean, this is Broken Lizard at their best. It's like Beer Fest, the original Super Troopers, Slam and Salmon, the best of the best from them.
Yes.
They are distilling it down into Tacoma FD. They can't push the boundaries quite as much as they probably would like, but they do a damn good job. A perfect job. Should we move on to Gen V?
Yes, I think we shall. We've got the first 3 episodes.
4.
The first 4, yes. Yeah. 4, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we had the first 3 released the first weekend, and then now we've gotten 1. We'll get 1 a week until it's wrapped up. So
I think we're only 3 in, maybe.
That's all right. I'm sure you're ahead of me on the Continental, so when we get to that.
Yeah, we're done with the Continental. I'm trying to think how many. No, I think we are the 4 in. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to be careful here because I don't want to spoil anything for you by talking about stuff in the 4th. No, because what you said made me think that you saw the 4th. Yeah.
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 So we're fully caught up. It's all
Dave
good.
just gave me a visual cue there, that led me to believe we are caught up.
Yes.
But now
Emma grew.
Now we're starting to see the formation of this team This
Yes.
Gen V team looks like at the end of episode 4, they're finally becoming a super
kind
group.
of finding their cohesion.
Yes. Yes, and of course we're still trying to find out about this mysterious
The woods
that supposedly some kind of a, I don't want to say torture chamber, but in a way it is.
Yeah, it's Vought's hospital for those who received the vaccine and the compound V and kind of went mentally off the rails.
Right. And of course, if you guys haven't figured this out by now, shame on you. Gen V is a spin-off of The Boys, looking at God U.
Yep, Godalkin University for Gen V, the young generation whose parents injected their babies, with compound V, hoping for their superpowers to manifest and give them a shit ton of money and fame and fortune through their kids. And so sick, twisted bastards.
But it's interesting to, yes, you're right. But is it any different than the parents we see nowadays pushing their kids into cheerleader camps and beauty pageants and that kind of crap?
Yeah,
trying to live vicariously through their children because they're too pathetic to establish their own path and their own legacy.
Yep.
Yeah. So, in that sense, it, again, just like The Boys, very in tune with today's society.
Yeah. And damn Seth Rogen, would you get over all the male genital shit?
Yeah, lots of penis shots in Gen V. Believe me. Graphic penis shots.
Ridiculous. And you got Seth Rogen to thank for that.
Yeah, and we've talked about him. He is just such an overrated hack. Yeah. Now,
let Kripke do his thing and be done with it.
Now, Seth Rogen, he's not the worst of the worst because, of course, he was Dirty Randy. We can never take that away from him. He was Dirty Randy in the league, which will give him an honorary spot in the Sports Frenzy Weekend Edition Hall of Fame.
For that role, yes.
But he also had a couple good movies. Not a lot.
There's been a couple.
I love Pineapple Express. I thought that was hysterical. And The Interview was very, very funny.
Yep, Green Hornet wasn't horrible.
Yeah, I got to watch that.
It was fairly decent. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't an embarrassment.
Well, and the thing you've told me is that it's actually loyal, faithful, and serious to a point.
Yeah, he's still got some of the comedy stuff, but there is a serious aspect to it.
But otherwise, yeah. I still want my money back for This Is the End. You and all the other high-priced little young comedians, Franco, you guys owe me money.
You sucked everybody into that crap fest.
One of the worst comedies I've ever seen in my life. Oh, my God. All right, so next week, should we give the kids our formal review of the Continental?
Yes.
I know you finished it.
Yep.
I've only got an episode left, so I'll finish it. So we will give you our full review next week. We gave you Tacoma this week. Next week, the 3-part event from the John Wick universe, the Continental.
Yep.
I had to watch the movie. I had to catch up on Gen V. And of course, my life is hell right now, so I didn't get to finish the Continental. I will finish. I've only got an hour and a half left. There you go.
There you go.
And this will tell you how busy I am, is that I didn't even get to watch WWE Fastlane this weekend. I actually missed a pay-per-view or a premium live event on Peacock. So
watching the Cowboys get their asses handed to them.
No, this was Saturday night.
Ah.
No, I was watching Reptile. I was just like, I want to watch a freaking movie.
Well, there you go.
I'm tired of, God help me for saying I'm tired of football, but I just needed a break.
Sometimes you have to do something different.
I did read that the one big thing that happened was Cody Rhodes finally got a belt. One of the Usos got the tag team titles. So yeah, yippee skippy. And Roman Reigns is still MIA. I don't think he has been on any show for 3 months. At some point, they got to take the title away from him. Doesn't he have to defend the title at some point?
Think.
Jesus
I don't
God.
know. I don't
Literally,
understand how that works anymore.
I am not kidding. He has not been on a show. He's not been on SmackDown. He's not been on any pay-per-view. It's got to be 3 months.
How do you get away with that?
I don't know. Maybe he's injured, but there's something wrong here.
Yeah, but at least you need to address it.
But, yeah, no, they're just, no, not even discussing it. Every once in a while, Paul Heyman will call Roman Reigns, and that's all you get.
How lame.
Well, and the thing is, if you're actually going to keep quote-unquote records, he's just tacking on more and more to his...
You know what? I don't count his length of time because it needs to be by title defense.
Hulk Hogan did not do this.
No, he was, putting a title on the line weekly?
And every pay-per-view, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like this.
I mean, you had everybody wrestle once or twice a week and was in every major pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
There was no shirking anybody.
Yep. Nope. Did not fight at Fastlane.
What a candy ass. Sorry.
I'm starting to think you're right. I like the guy a lot, but the thing is, how can I like him if I don't get to see him?
Exactly. You can't respect anybody who isn't out there all the damn time.
I'll tell you who I like now, who I'm becoming a big fan of, is LA Knight. He's got the little bit of the Macho Man thing going on. He's got the
little bit of swagger.
Let me talk to you.
He's got the swagger.
He's got the fans behind him, man. He gets to the ring and LA Knight. Yeah. It's awesome. He's got that whole like, ooh yeah,
nice
type thing going. And this was a guy who they brought up from NXT and tried to change him completely. He was LA Knight in NXT. They brought him up and they tried to make him the founder of Maximum Male Models.
No, for the love of God.
Where they were going to have male models turned into wrestlers, and he was like the Estee Lauder, you know. And I was like, he finally realized it was a disaster, turned him back into LA Knight, and now he's the hottest wrestler out there.
Sometimes you just don't fuck with what works.
Yep. Speaking of not fucking with what works, coming to Peacock on December the 8th, Mr. Monk's Last Case. Adrian Monk is returning to Peacock. Can't wait for that. Hopefully, Psych returns some point down the road.
We should be due for another Psych movie. And dare I say...
Both their shows have been canceled, by the way, by ABC and The Rat. So come back. Come back to us at Peacock.
Sean.
NBC
Gus,
Universal.
You know you want to. The psychos out there want you to. It has to be done. Even if it starts with another movie, which better star Despero, damn it.
But yeah, you've got no excuse now. You need the money. You need a paycheck. Once the writer strike is over now, when we get the actor strike figured out, well, I don't care about that, but...
Because, in between the lines, there's a lot of obscurity.
I've heard that before. Somewhere. Mr. Jerry Seinfeld gave us a very interesting teaser quote the other day. And people are running with it like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Gee, our miscreants, is their jail sentence up?
Mr. Seinfeld has hinted strongly that he is going to revisit the ending of Seinfeld. Now, people have speculated, what does that mean? Are you going to reboot the series?
I think there could be a movie of their release after their sentence being over.
This would be, this would be nuclear in the world of entertainment if we get Seinfeld back. Oh my God. And George Costanza, Jason Alexander right now is doing cheap-ass mobile telephone commercials. I don't even know what Michael Richards is doing.
He's been banned, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think they'd welcome him back now. And Seinfeld's just doing the stand-up shtick. Julie Louis-Dreyfus is actually trying to be a legitimate actress. But can you imagine the payday they would get to revive? I'm already hearing people speculating about bringing George Costanza back as the GM of the Yankees. And having him
fresh out of prison,
having him meet with Paul O'Neill and Buck Showalter, all the guys that appeared in Seinfeld from the Yankees.
Oh God!
I can only hope. If he better not tease something that he doesn't follow through. If
done right, it could be brilliant. It better just not be thrown together.
No. And that was the problem with the final episode, was it didn't feel like it was thrown the same quality. I don't know if I'd say it felt like it was thrown together. I felt like they thought it was funny, and that was the one time out of the entire seasons, all 9 seasons, where they were out of touch with the audience.
Yeah.
Is they thought it was funny, and we all went, it's not really funny.
Really? That's what you gave us?
Yeah. So we'll see. This boy...
It's intriguing. It is very intriguing. He
better not drop this and then not follow through on it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have any moments of silence, believe it or not, in the world of entertainment. So, shall we move on to your favorite segment, mine and America's?
It's time to play our favorite game show, Red Foreman's Dumbass or Not. What do you have for us today, Kev?
I'm going to start off. These are not clear-cut. These are not easy. As much as you and I are usually simpatico, we usually see eye to eye. I don't know.
We're about 96%.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I can go with that. Now, this one we alluded to earlier this week on the Sports Frenzy Sports Edition. And again, the words, the quotes themselves are not offensive in any way, but we've got to look back at the past history of this gentleman and how he seems to think now, with one Oscar for Best Director, he is the spokesperson, the be-all, end-all for Hollywood. He's already insulted us by saying, because we like superhero movies, we're idiots. Because we don't appreciate cinema, and the superhero movies are destroying movies as we know it.
Yes, this coming from the one-trick pony mob man.
Yes, where it's got to star Robert De Niro, and every other word's got to be fuck. Great writing. Yeah, fuck this, fuck that, fuck Vito. Well, now, of course, he's got to come out and put his 2 cents in about Barbie and Oppenheimer. Now, he loves Barbie and Oppenheimer. Now, Oppenheimer, I will give him a pass on. Oppenheimer looks like a tremendous work of art. But then again, it's Christopher Nolan, who has got fucking 15 times more better movies than he ever had. Oh, but Barbie and Oppenheimer, to quote Martin Scorsese, the only person who gets to talk about movies, obviously, in this day and age, were the perfect storm, quote unquote, and something special. Okay. So it's okay to make a fucking movie about Barbie, a doll,
but not a superhero.
But superhero movies are destroying our culture.
Really? Have you listened to I'm Just Ken?
I'm still shocked and disturbed that Mammoth Wolfie played on that song. Along with Slash, right? Slash played on it too.
Yes, they did.
Oh
they hoard themselves out.
But again, in and of itself, the quote is innocuous, but coming from him, I'm just tired of him. It's like the Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers of the film world. You just want him to shut the fuck up. We're tired of what you have to say. We're tired of your opinions.
We're tired of your
you're a great filmmaker. That doesn't mean you get to tell us what we get to watch. If I want to watch fucking Caddyshack, I'll watch fucking Caddyshack, whether you like it or not.
If I want to watch Batman The Dark Knight, damn it, I'm going to.
Oh, but he likes Oppenheimer. Who made The Dark Knight? Who directed that?
Christopher Nolan. That's why I mentioned The Dark Knight specifically.
Well, I know you did. I was just trying to help you lead into that. This is another guy we've talked about recently who I'm getting tired of because he's a hypocrite. John Cena has said he will immediately leave the WWE as soon as the actor strike ends. Why? Because if I get hurt wrestling, that'll mess with the liability insurance on a lot of my projects, and that will lead to a lot of people losing their jobs. Seriously, that's what he said.
Dude, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I've wanted to know why the WWE and wrestling was still allowed to go on during the actors' strike. Because isn't it mostly acting anyway?
Well, him and The Rock, we talked about this. Shocking that they both came back the minute the actors went on strike. And the minute the actors will go off strike, they will leave.
Gee, doesn't professional wrestling have writers? How are they allowed to continue on?
But can I ask you something? Seriously. So he's going to wrestle until the actor's strike ends, right? He doesn't know when it's going to end. Could end tomorrow, could end in 3 weeks. So let's say he wrestles, Friday night on SmackDown as we tape on a Wednesday night.
Yep, and Saturday, the strike ends.
But he gets injured Friday. He gets injured Friday on SmackDown. Okay, the liability insurance doesn't come into play for a production, right?
Right.
But he still can't act if he's busted up his arm or torn a muscle in his leg. So he has still fucked over all these people. Yeah. He never should have. Him and The Rock never should have gotten back into the ring to begin with because they didn't know when the strike was going to end. And if they get hurt a week before the strike ends, they're still putting these people out of work because they still can't do all the stunts and all the acting that they need to.
Stupid.
So it's stupid logic. It's outside of the liability insurance. It's stupid fucking logic.
Dumbasses.
Oh, so the third one's oh my God, this is like a lobbed softball no-brainer.
Ka-ching.
Our buddy Roger Waters.
Oh, dip fuck.
London show. Scheduled for a London concert. Claims there was miscommunication. Now, tell me if you've heard this before. John Mellencamp. Comes on stage when the show's supposed to start. Reads from his autobiography for 1 hour.
Oh, hell no!
Then shows a short film about the making of his version of Dark Side of the Moon.
No.
Takes an intermission. No. So basically 2 hours have passed before he finally starts playing the concert featuring his version of Dark Side of the Moon. Claims there was a miscommunication that people should have been told that the first 2 hours of the show were going to be other stuff. And
How about you failed as an entertainer to make this known to everybody?
Oh, and a couple other things. You're going to love this. Number one, he liked to talk about, I believe his pet duck. Does that sound familiar? Like David Lee Roth and his dogs. And then when people actually started to walk out as he was reading from his autobiography, he told them all to fuck off.
And cut. Bye-bye. You're a dumbass. Nobody should ever go see this guy ever again.
This is why we hate Pink Floyd. Because of Roger Waters.
Yep.
It's got nothing to do with David Gilmour.
No,
Nick
Roger
Mason.
Waters is a complete piece of human garbage.
Yeah. God forbid if we ever hear his views on the
anything
Israel-Hamas thing, since he's a big anti-Semite. You know.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
And on that cheery note, kids, we wrap this weekend edition. Check out the sports on Thursday. Hit the Facebook page. You suggest to us. We'll talk to you again in 7. Bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da, bum-ba-dee-da.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet